Oh good, you're just in time. I'm trying to hang up this map I got from Conquest Maps. I just finished putting all these push pins in for all the ports I've been to since the cruise restart. Still looks a little empty. I probably should cruise some more. Now I picked the Caribbean map, but they also have maps from all over the world, or the whole world for that matter. So if you'd like to check out all of Conquest Premium Maps, there's a link in the description below. Oh, and you can use the code Midships15 if you want 15% off your order. Thanks to Conquest Maps for sending this over. Now, let's get into the cruise news. Hey, welcome to the Midships channel. I'm Corey, and once again, I'm serving up a fresh slice of that cruise news. Today, we're talking Carnival Cruise Line, as they've just released new deployment details for several of their ships. Plus, as the pandemic wanes here on land, cruise lines are taking note. We'll cover even more protocol changes from the major US cruise lines. And with Royal Caribbean releasing new itineraries, one ship it's suspiciously missing. Just where is the Icon of the Seas? But we're getting started today with a look at where cruising stands now, in early March. The Great Cruise Comeback is in full swing now, and March looks to be the busiest month yet. This month, 264 ships will be set to operate from almost 70 brands, according to Cruise Industry News. That means it's the biggest month for cruising since the pandemic began. Just who are the largest operators in the world right now? Royal Caribbean International obviously tops the charts, followed closely by Carnival Corporation and then MSC Cruise Line. So all in all, March seems to not only bring nicer weather, but even nicer cruise news. I'm really looking forward to getting out and cruising once again this month. So make sure you're subscribed to this channel so you don't miss out. Now let's turn our attention to Carnival. There have been several question marks about ship deployments for the brand over the past month or so, but now it seems like we might finally have some answers. Let's find out what's moving and shaking with Carnival Cruise Line. From cruiseradio.net by Sarah Bretz. In early February, Carnival announced deployment changes for a number of the ships in their fleet. Now, the line has announced new home ports and itineraries for some of those vessels as well. And we'll start by looking at the Carnival Elation. Elation will be moving north to Jacksonville, and she'll remain there until 2024. The vessel will continue sailing her regular 4- and 5-night cruises, normally assigned to the Carnival Ecstasy, as that ship is slated to leave the fleet later on this year. Now, let's turn our attention to the Carnival Freedom, who will be moving into my home port of Port Canaveral this April to replace the Carnival Elation. The ship will continue to operate 4- and 5-night cruises out of Canaveral, and her itineraries go through April 29th of next year. And last but not least, a cruise ship coming up from down under, the Carnival Spirit. After completing her summer season over in Alaska, Carnival Spirit will continue to operate 6- and 8-night cruises that were previously assigned to the Carnival Freedom out of the Port of Miami through April of next year. Following the completion of her Caribbean season in Miami, the Spirit shall sail the Panama Canal over to Seattle, where she'll begin the 2023 Alaska cruise season. So there you go, we finally know what's going on with the Carnival Spirit. I really had my fingers crossed that Carnival might send her to Port Canaveral. I even sent out a plea to Christine Duffy here on the channel. However, Miami's not that far of a drive from here, and I'm definitely going to be booking on the Spirit later this year. Now, we're going to talk about the 8 US cruise lines here in the US that are dropping several requirements on board their ships. But before we do, I need to remind you, there's a Midships group cruise scheduled for October 24th out of Charleston, South Carolina. If you'd like to join me for a cruise down to the Caribbean, why don't you go ahead and follow the link down in the top of my description below this video. Also down in my description box, there's a link to the Midships merch store. If you'd like to support my work while wearing some of the coolest threads on board, check out the link below. But be careful, because you'll get a lot of jealous looks up there on the Lido deck. So thanks for sticking through that while I paid a few bills. Now it's time to focus our attention on these 8 cruise lines that are officially dropping their masking requirements. And we're going to do that with an article from Cruise Radio by Sarah Bretz. As the COVID pandemic slows, 8 cruise lines have just dropped their mask policies as of yesterday, the end of February, or today, the beginning of March. As was previously reported here on the channel, a large number of cruise brands are dropping their mask requirements on board their ships, beginning today. These brands include Carnival, Holland America, Norwegian, Oceania, Princess, Regent Seven Seas, as well as Seabourn. If you know a bit about which brands those belong to, you'll recognize they're all cruise lines under either Carnival or Norwegian's umbrella. And it's not just Carnival, because also Sir Richard Branson's newish cruise line, Virgin Voyages, they've also dropped their masking policy officially as of yesterday. Major lines that continue to have masking in place on board include Azamara, Cunard, Disney, MSC, and Viking. On Celebrity cruises, masks aren't required for vaccinated guests unless you're in the theater or the casino. And for Royal Caribbean, vaccinated guests don't need to wear masks in the vaccinated-only venues on board their ships. In other health protocol-related news, Norwegian Cruise Line announced that as of today, it will be allowing unvaccinated children under the age of 12 to sail on board their ships. And in a move in the opposite direction, Celebrity cruises as of April 15th will require all guests 5 and older to be fully vaccinated to sail here in the US. So kind of an odd direction coming from Celebrity cruises. It's a weird take. It's not in line with anybody else. But for the most part, it seems like cruise lines, they're starting to see the writing on the wall. People don't really want to have masks on while they're on board the ship. And I can't blame them for the most part. It's hot in these tropical climates that the ships go to. It's not really the place you want to find yourself masked if you don't have to be. So that makes me a little bit curious. Are you more likely to get on a cruise ship that's not enforcing a masking policy? Go ahead and leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are about this whole situation. Now, we need to focus our attention on Royal Caribbean. They recently released a ton of new cruises that are available to book. But one ship, it's suspiciously missing, and that's the Icon of the Seas, the brand new ship slated to be released next year. So let's learn more from what's going on from our friend Matt Hochberg at Royal Caribbean Blog. You may recall Icon of the Seas, the first ship in the brand new Icon class, is set to debut sometime in 2023, and yet she's suspiciously absent from the new deployment released from Royal Caribbean. Traditionally, Royal Caribbean releases sailings for a new ship in its own timeline. We've seen this with Wonder of the Seas as well as Symphony of the Seas, when their initial sailings went up for grabs. Royal Caribbean has not said where Icon of the Seas will sail from, but we know she's set to debut sometime in the fall of 2023. So we'll just have to keep our eyes open to see what's going on with the Icon of the Seas. But that's not the only cool ship we just talked about, because you might have heard I mentioned Wonder of the Seas. And since it's officially March, we're now just 4 days away from the inaugural sailing of the largest cruise ship ever built. I can't wait to go ahead and see all the content coming out from everyone who gets on board that very first sailing. Unfortunately, I did have to cancel my reservation on board the Wonder of the Seas due to some other commitments here in my personal life, but I'm holding out hope to get on board Wonder before she heads over to the Mediterranean. So it's actually kind of interesting. I ran a poll here on my social media, and I asked you if you've ever sailed on board one of the Oasis class ships before, and honestly, only about 1/3 of you responded with a yes. So it seems like there's plenty of you out there in the Midships family that still need to hop on board one of these mega ships from Royal Caribbean. There's nothing else out there like them on the seas, I can promise you that. And even if you're like me and you truly do prefer that small ship experience, it's definitely a bucket list item for any cruiser. So for those of you who made it this far, I'm a little curious. Do you think I should actually hang this up in the background of my videos, or maybe use it as a set piece for like another second studio? Anyways, let me know in the comments below. I'm so glad you decided to join me here today on the Midships channel. Thanks so much for stopping by, and until next time, we'll see ya on the Midships. La